Story appears ordinary until you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Gift or Gete. In a major story, insurgents flee as hunters, soldiers reclaim Mubi town in Adamawa state from Boko Haram. Also in this program, senators grill chief of army staff over lost territories to Boko Haram. Delayed promotion tears UNILAG teachers and school management apart. And outside Nigeria, Islamic State militants release audio tape it says was recorded by its leader Abubakar al-Baghdadi days after his reported death. Thanks for staying tuned with us. It's CoreTV Primetime News. Now details of the headlines and other stories. Residents of Mubi, the second largest town in Adamawa State, trooped to the streets of the town on Thursday when a team of local hunters, youth vigilante group and soldiers chased out the members of the Islamic militant group that captured and ruled over the town for about a month. It was gathered that the jubilation was wowed by the residents who continually marched on the streets and sang different songs of praises to the Lord. The battle to reclaim the town was fought by the military, local hunters and youth vigilante group members on one side against the heavily armed members of the outlawed Boko Haram on the other side. After victory was recorded against insurgents in a battle that took hours and left many residents out of the town shell-shocked and shaken, they trooped to the streets and center of the town to sing choruses and praise to the Lord, whom they say reclaimed their ancestral home for them. Some of the residents said they were excited that their homes had been liberated from the hands of the Boko Haram insurgents who had either been killed or chased out. Members of the Senate Committee on Defense on Thursday had a stormy session with Chief of Army Staff Kenneth Mimina over the security situation in northeastern Nigeria. The senators had wanted the army chief to speak on security issues with the media present, but he insisted that the session must be behind closed doors. In spite of pressure from the senators, the army chief refused to budge.
Excuse me, distinguished chairman. I think I came to interface with the Senate Committee on Defense, not with the press. Can they leave us?
And people are worried. We'll be going home on a weekly basis. People are asking us questions. All we need from you, these are journalists representing the voice of the people. Can you just reassure Nigerians?
What is required of you is to be able to, whatever you tell us, it's also for the general public. So also it's for the media. There should be a limitation of what you say, and what these media people will take on. You know, as a chief of army staff, you know what we ought to say to give a message. We invited you so that we inform Nigerians that we are not silent. And people are not looking at these things without having a thought of it.
Well, thank you, distinguished chairman. I'm here to stand in for the Chief of Defense Staff, who is absent. And then at the private session, I'll be able to respond to some of those issues you have raised. Thank you, sir.
The Catholic Church has communicated its concern over the security situation in northeast Nigeria and the poor treatment of displaced persons to President Goodluck Jonathan. The specifically described government relief efforts as non-effective and asked to be involved in reaching out to people displaced by Boko Haram activities in the region. Catholic Archbishop Ignatius Kaigama, who told the State House correspondent after the meeting that the bishops are not pleased with the situation.
How to very technically do registration of displaced people. The little funds we gather, we buy clothing and materials and are able to reach out very effectively, you would almost say scientifically, because every victim gets something. So we are telling government that we are aware of the wonderful effort they do, the relief they give through NEMA and other agencies, but the effectiveness of distribution is our concern. And that we are here with long years of experience. As the Catholic Church, we don't discriminate. In fact, 90% of people we give relief to are not Christians or even Catholics, so we should be brought on board. We should provide the skills of registering accurately displaced people and then knowing the right approach to give them relief so that they can feel the impact. What is being done now is not effective. That is the truth.
What so many people have heard the church say in the recent times is that the terrors are targeted at the church. Did you discuss that with the president?
It is not news. It's not new. The Boko Haram agenda is very clear. They want to destroy what is not, according to them, authentic Islam. And the Christians fall into that category. So we are a major target. Just like the government is a target, the Christians are a major target. Other Nigerians are also targets, but we suffer more. For instance, the Bishop of Maiduguri will tell you how many of his parishes have all been destroyed. His minor seminary, his convent and clinics where sisters work, they have all been destroyed.
Members of the women wing of the Christian Association of Nigeria on Thursday converged on Kaduna to pray for permanent peace and an end to the Boko Haram insurgency. Addressing a press conference at Nigeria Union of Journalists NUJ Secretariat, the national chairperson Oyin Shonlu said they have no choice but to take the matter to God. This, according to CAN women leader, is because the spate of killings and bombings is becoming unbearable. She ordered that since the federal government, federal authorities and the security agencies seem to be finding it difficult to fight the insurgents, CAN women across the 36 states of the Federation have resolved to seek divine intervention over the bloodletting. Nigeria's main opposition party, the All Progressive Congress, is convinced that the 2015 election would be decided on the character and leadership qualities of those seeking to lead the country for the next 4 years. It also wants Nigeria to disregard what it describes as misrepresentations and voodoo statistics made by chieftains of the ruling People's Democratic Party during President Goodluck Jonathan's declaration for second term in office. Party chairman John Odigio-Yegun insists that the incumbent president has not done enough to earn the trust of Nigerians at a time the country is losing territories to Boko Haram. The APC national chairman, who spoke at the press conference in Abuja, also maintained his party would reclaim all lost territories if it takes over at the federal level next year.
As the candidate of the PDP, and ask Nigerians for another 4 years as president. You heard a lot of claims, you heard a lot of misrepresentations, and you heard a lot of voodoo statistics, none of which can stand the barest scrutiny. Disregard them. You heard the excuses for failure to fix basic infrastructure, failure to arrest unprecedented levels of corruption and halt the march of terrorists daily inching their way towards all of us. You heard promises that sound familiar, and they sound familiar only because you have heard them before, at least in the last 6 years of President Jonathan. Do not give the party that has so savaged Nigeria in the last 16 years the opportunity to finish off our dear nation. The PDP
Former Vice President of Nigeria and All Progressives Congress presidential aspirant Abubakar Atiku has again taken the Goodluck Jonathan administration to the cleaners for what he called abysmal performance. Atiku, who made this known in Osogbo during a visit to the Osun State chapter of the APC, says Nigeria remains at a standstill under the PDP-led administration. Rashid was there. He filed in this report.
In a bid to strengthen his chances at clinching the presidential ticket of the All Progressive Congress, Atiku has been on tour of states to canvass support of party faithfuls. Welcoming him on behalf of the state government, the Deputy Governor, Titilaoye Tomori, says the aspiration of Atiku and every other aspirant on the APC is centered at pulling Nigeria from the brinks of collapse.
You watched over the years and you could just not sit down or relax back and watch this nation. Presently, we all realize that the nation is wobbling on the sea of insecurity, economic uncertainty, and all such woes that have befallen Nigeria in recent years.
The former vice president says he is contesting to become the president of Nigeria in order to make the country walk again.
I should ask you, what is going right in this country? Is it education? Is it security? Is it infrastructure? Is it healthcare? What is going right? Absolutely nothing.
Atiku, who served for 8 years under the regime of Olusegun Obasanjo, submits that past leaders in the country should not be blamed for Nigeria's problems.
I don't think we should blame past leaders, because if you look at the past leaders, each and every one of them had done something. A nation building is a continuous process. No one single leader or president who will complete building a nation. I mean, even in advanced or developed countries, nation building is still continuing.
As the race for the APC presidential ticket heats up, the likes of Atiku, in the eyes of observers, should be ready to face questions on their roles in the development or otherwise of Nigeria. Rashid, CoreTV News, Osogbo.
As the 2015 general elections approach, Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola has again used the platform of the 2014 Community Day celebration to reiterate the importance of the voter card in the move to create a new Nigeria. He says it is the only tool of the voter to sack a non-performing government. Obiala Oluwole was at the event. He filed in this report presented from our studios.
The event began with a march past by all the community development associations in the 57 local governments and local council development areas of the state. In his address, Fashola decried the inability of the federal government to provide stable power supply for the country.
We are providing you transformers. Let me be very clear, that is not our responsibility. The distribution companies who bought the assets of PHCN are the ones who are using the transformers to distribute electricity to your homes and to your communities. It is their duty to provide these transformers. But have they brought any transformer to you? When they were taking over these companies, the federal government told us that they were going to inject money from private sector into it. Now the story is changing. It is the federal government that wants to re-inject money back into assets that it has sold. I don't know what kind of business model that is, but we will wait for explanation.
He called on Lagosians to ensure they participate in the INEC voter registration exercise, adding that the voter card is the only available tool of the electorate to sack a non-performing government.
The time for promises have come. You will see all sorts of politicians, even those who cannot manage their homes, will tell you to let them manage your lives. Look well. Shine your eyes.
The governor later presented checks and gifts to all the community development associations.
This is CoreTV Primetime News. Promotion tears UNILAG teachers and school management apart. Find out more after this time out. Stay with us.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Professor.
My former students.
Happy birthday.
Every day, life is made better by the moments of surprise we create for others and for ourselves. Be better. Surprise someone this season and make sure to text 11 to 400 to get a surprise from MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Has been nominated in 3 categories of this year's Nigerian Broadcasters Merit Award. Log on to www.nba.linkedlist.us, sign in with your Twitter details or email, and vote. For CoreTV News categories 14, Newscasters of Year TV Male, categories 22, Best Coverage of News Story, and category 30, TV Station with Best Innovation. Deadline is 12 midnight, Thursday, November 13, 2014. Thank you for being there.
Welcome back. Thanks for staying tuned with us. It's CoreTV Primetime News, a recap of our major stories. Insurgents flee as hunters. Soldiers reclaim Mubi town in Adamawa State from Boko Haram. Senators grill Chief of Army Staff over lost territories to Boko Haram. Delayed promotion tears UNILAG teachers and school management apart. Or don't forget that you can also reach us on our social media platform. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/CoreTV News. On Twitter, at CoreTV News NG. And on YouTube, youtube.com/CoreTV Space News. We continue with the rest of our story. The Committee for Defense of Human Rights, CDHR, has issued a 21-day ultimatum to the management of Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, to provide appropriate compensation for over 60 workers sacked in July last year. Lagos State Chairman of CDHR, Buna Isiak, vows that FIRS management should not expect peace if the organization continues to cheat Nigerians. Omatayalo has the rest of the story.
Some of the over 60 workers that were said to be unjustly relieved of their jobs by the management of FIRS. For them, the shock that greeted their sack and the non-payment of their benefits remains fresh ever after.
Is it not bad? For me that spent 32 years, where do they want me to go? When they give us circular to sign, that circular was compulsory that we must sign. Because I remember when I replied my own, the head of our office that time said, he will not sign my letter because I'm fighting the manager. I said, no, I'm fighting the manager. It's what I felt like. You say you don't need secretary. I have equivalent to HN. You say it's irrelevant. What else do you want me to do?
We want
immediate and adequate compensation upon what the injustice they have done upon us.
Pledging to seek justice for the sacked workers, the Lagos State CDHR Chairman Buna Isiak says justice will be sought in the court of law if the management fails to comply with their demands.
CDHR hereby call for an immediate review of the Federal Inland Revenue Service position in order to meet the demands of the affected workers within 21 days from today.
National President of CDHR, Sunny Enenuvwedai, lamented the poor working conditions in Nigeria while calling for fair treatment for all.
But what is happening there is happening in every parastatal, both state government, federal government, local government. It's happening all over the place. So it's an eye-opener, and Nigeria should be ready.
Attempts by CoreTV News to get the reaction of the FIRS management to the development was rebuffed by senior staff of the establishment who claimed members of the management were not available for comment. However, the last is yet to be seen of the sacked workers' battle against what they claimed was an unjust treatment. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
All is not well between authorities of the University of Lagos and the schools chapter of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. Unlike the usual ASU spate with the federal government, the bone of contention this time is centered around staff promotions, which the teachers say are overdue and subjected to favoritism. The UNILAG management, though admitted that there were issues playing around teachers' promotion, it however stated that the problem is already receiving adequate attention. Olajumoke Olatunji brought back this report.
Education, they say, is the bedrock of any nation. But the developed nations did not attain development by merely wishing it. Their dreams and aspirations were actualized through a planned, well-thought-out and executed education system, backed by well-motivated staff, students, and good learning environment. But the case appears not to be so at the moment in the University of Lagos, especially concerning welfare of academic staff. The teachers say promotions have not been forthcoming in the last 15 years. Beyond this, assessments for promotion exercises are fraught with undue favoritism, a situation most of the lecturers described as unbecoming of a federal institution.
We are actually talking about conditions of service and issues that affect the welfare of our members that are not being attended to. It is the fact that nothing concrete has been done about it since we have been engaging with them.
Over the years, the academic in the University of Lagos have been dialoguing, appealing to management to do what is right. We see that there are shifts in goalposts. They do things for some, they don't do for others, and this brings down morale of our members. We have been appealing to them, we've been dialoguing for over 15 years. They keep on promising and promising. We are tired of promises. We want them to take action. So we appeal to the university management to do what is right, honor the agreement, implement what has been agreed upon so that there will be peace.
But how true are those claims?
The issues as raised by ASU were not properly, was not a true reflection of what the reality on the ground is. And one can take those issues one by one. You know, the issue of notional promotion that, of course, at one time the council had said, look, no more notional promotion. But in implementing the no notional promotion, the same members of ASU who received their letters now said, look, they have lost seniority. That, look, just let us know that we are appointed from so date. So that was how the notional promotion issue then cropped back in. Then they talked about accumulated leave. And you know, there's nothing that's far from the truth.
The management of the school may at this point not be ready to leave anything to chances. Only though picked by the manner the lecturers are going about the issue, promised that the UNILAG authorities will ensure that there is light at the end of the tunnel. But how soon will this be?
You know, so all those issues that have been brought up, you know, no vacancy, no promotion, no PhD, no promotion, and all of that. You know, all of those issues are issues that are constantly being discussed, and there's a dialogue that's going on. And if there are any other areas where there is still a shortage, all the heads of departments and the deans have been requested to request for these positions through the development committee, and these positions will be created based on the areas of need.
And as the lecturers and the school's managements continue to blow hot and cold, the students are observing the development with bated breath. Olajumoke Olatunji, CoreTV News, Lagos.
Exactly a year after his death in a fatal car crash involving the convoy of Kogi State Governor Idris Wada, former national president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Festus Iyayi, was being remembered by his colleagues at the University of Ibadan. They used the platform to call on all Nigerians to be wary of unfulfilled promises by politicians as the 2015 general elections approaches. Kasali Kazim was at the University of Ibadan. He filed in this report presented from our studios.
It's exactly a year after the death of Festus Iyayi, who was widely regarded as an icon by the hierarchy of Academic Staff Union of Universities and his colleagues in the University of Ibadan. They gathered for what the chairman of the branch, Segun Ajiboye, called a day of tribute to raise the awareness of all Nigerians as the 2015 elections draw near.
Because look, 2015 and the elections are close by. People need to know. You know what we normally say, that they should shine their eyes to know how they vote and who they vote for. Because people deserve the kind of leadership they get. So please, Nigerians are called upon to rise up to this occasion. When they are voting, they should be able to vote for credible leaders that will be able to move this country forward.
Other speakers, Francis Egbogare and Shola Olorunyomi, called on Nigerians to stand up and be counted in the fight to ensure that Nigeria does not end up in the hands of leaders they described as selfish.
And our existence has been reduced to the question of the daily rat race for power, for position, and for livelihood. And if you look at it, the tools of development, politics and governance, are themselves in our country ends in themselves rather than means to ends. And that shows exactly what is going on in terms of the campaigns, where what is happening in Chibok, for instance, in the northeast of the country, has absolutely very little bearing in the decision of the ruling political party in terms of how they confront the process of campaign.
And what is going on in the northeast of Nigeria is actually an outcome, byproduct of educational deficit. Of course, there are also issues of developmental deficit, infrastructural deficit, but education is also key. Here is a place where they have the lowest enrollment in primary school, secondary school education as compared to the other parts of the country. Not just that, they have the highest mortality rates. I know how education helps us to know how to take care of basic health and basic medical things.
The gathering ended with a resolve to continue to fight for the education of the vast majority of the nation's youths, as well as a better Nigeria for all.
Watching CoreTV Prime Time News, we take another break and return with business, sports and stories outside Nigeria. Stay with us.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday, dear Professor.
My former students.
Happy birthday.
Every day, life is made better by the moments of surprise we create for others and for ourselves. Be better. Surprise someone this season and make sure to text 11 to 400 to get a surprise from MTN.
MTN, everywhere you go.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Your favorite 24-hour news channel CoreTV News has been nominated in 3 categories of this year's Nigerian Broadcasters Merit Award. Log on to www.nba.linkedlist.us, sign in with your Twitter details or email, and vote for CoreTV News categories 14 Newscasters of Year TV Male, categories 22 Best Coverage of News Story, and category 30 TV Station with Best Innovation. Deadline is 12 midnight, Thursday, November 13, 2014. Thank you for being there.
CoreTV Primetime News now to business. The Central Bank of Nigeria on Thursday organized a 2-day training workshop on accessing 220 billion naira for micro, small and medium enterprises. The workshop was organized by the Development and Finance Department of the Apex Bank, DFD, included non-governmental organizations and microfinance institutions. It said the fund, which was set up in 2013 by President Goodluck Jonathan, is to reduce the high level of unemployment in the country. Participants at the workshop, Principal Manager of DFD, Hadia Habiba, says the initiative was established with a seed capital of 220 billion naira to provide change to promote access to funds to develop grassroots economy. It also serves as women empowerment initiative that will help them contribute to job creation and to fully participate in national development. Stakeholders in the oil and gas industry have tasked the federal government to put in place appropriate funding mechanism to encourage investment that will help attain zero gas flare out in Nigeria. According to the stakeholders, 3 major issues, which include funding, lack of country-wide gas infrastructure, and fiscal policies critical to gas development, have been identified as hindering the attainment of zero gas flaring. It was contained in a communique issued at the end of the pre-conference workshop at the 2014 Annual Conference of Petroleum Explorationists in Lagos. It was noted that unless in cases where it makes sense for government social responsibility, the gas value chain and pricing should be driven by market forces and accelerated to a willing buyer, willing seller status. The communique urged government to put in place incentives to encourage aggressive exploration for gas and the frontier area of increased long-term sustainability, and ordered that government expedites action on the establishment of a planned backbone infrastructure development and then transit out of infrastructure development through public-private partnership thereafter. 170,000 cars have been recalled due to airbag issues in Honda cars. They were recalled because the airbags might explode when deployed. The faulty airbags were manufactured by Takata Corporation, a Japan-based company. Humidity appears to be contributing costs to some of the airbags rupturing when deployed. Lost metal fragments might also be sent into the car, hurting passengers. 5 models recovered, which cars were sold across continents, were recalled, although none of the affected models were sold in the United States. This is Honda's 10th recall, affecting more than 6 million cars worldwide. Honda also confirmed that it was investigating the July death of a driver in Malaysia and 4 other deaths in the U.S. related to a faulty airbag. According to the Center for Auto Safety, all the fatalities occurred in Honda car or Acura cars made by Honda Motor. Takata also made airbags for at least 9 other automakers, but are denying any allegations. The federal government sold 55 billion naira of sovereign bonds with maturities of 3, 10 and 20 years at an auction on Wednesday, attracting mixed yields amid a sell-off on the secondary market, the Debt Management Office said on Thursday. The debt office sold 20 billion naira of 20-year paper at 13% compared with 12.69% at the previous auction last month, and 25 billion naira in 10-year bond at 12.8% against 12.79% at the previous auction. A total of 10 billion naira of a 3-year debt note was sold at 12% compared with 12.14% at the last auction in October. All the debt notes are reopening on previous issues. And now to market report. Equity transactions on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange Thursday ended on a positive note. The all-share index appreciated by 1.61% to close at 34.515.49 basis points. Market capitalization increases to close in the same manner at 11.45 trillion naira. In all, a total of 325 million shares valued at 5.39 billion naira were exchanged in 5,204 deals. Reports shows that Dangote Cement topped the gainers chart, followed by Cadbury, Unilever, Pizza and Transcorp. On the downside, Seplat Oil topped the losers chart, followed by Nestle, Forty Oil, Nigeria Breweries and Guinness. Meanwhile, here are the top 5 trades. And now to sports. Going by the sparkling performance of the players in camp and a strong case made by Super Eagles boss Stephen Keshi, the Nigeria Football Federation NFF leadership has agreed that all 25 players who have been in camp in the last week for the duel against Congo this weekend and South Africa next Wednesday can make the trip to Congo. Obviously, Happy Keshi, who spoke through his assistants Dan Dabo, Amokachi, and team administrator Dayo Enebi, announced that the team will also be led by NFF President Amaju Picnic, but will have such eminent personalities as the Senate Committee Chairman on Sports Ibrahim Gumba and a member of the House of Representatives Committee on Sports Madashiru Oyetunde on board the flight to Congo. The chartered Discovery airliner is expected to take approximately 3 hours to get to Congo-Brazzaville, with departure time set for midnight Nigeria time. A couple of Nigerian sports journalists from the print and electronic media are also on the trip to Congo. Qatar is cleared to host the 2022 World Cup after FIFA's Ethics Committee cleared it of corruption in the bidding process. A 42-page report by German judge, the chairman of the adjudicatory chamber of FIFA's Independent Ethics Committee, has ruled on Michael Gracia's investigation into the bidding for the 2018 and 2022 tournament. Qatar had faced numerous allegations of corruption, but the report turned much of its fire on England's conduct, saying it had damaged the integrity of the ongoing bidding process. It said England 2018 bid team's attempt to secure the FIFA executive votes, apparently controlled by disgraced ex-Vice President Jack Warner, included securing a job for a family friend in Britain, and violated bidding rules. The England FA have reacted swiftly to squash claims by FIFA's Ethics Committee that they breached the rules in England's bid to host the 2018 World Cup. England lost out to Russia in the 2010 vote, but an 18-month investigation into the bidding process for the 2018 and 2022 World Cup published on Thursday states that their attempt to win the support of former FIFA executive Jack Warner violated bidding rules. The 42-page report says England targeted votes supposedly controlled by Warner and led to the Trinidad official showering the bid team with inappropriate requests. Those included the securing of a job for a family friend in the UK, and according to the report, England 2018's top official in response not only provided the individual concerned with employment opportunities, but also kept Mr. Warner apprised of their efforts as they solicited his support for the bid. And now 2 stories outside Nigeria. Islamic State has released an audio tape it says was recorded by its leader, Abubakar al-Baghdadi, days after reports that he had been killed or injured. Reports say the recording appears authentic and recent. The IS leader was said to have been caught in the US-led airstrike near the Iraqi city of Mosul last week. Thursday's 17-minute recording makes no direct reference to their airstrike, but does mention some developments that have occurred since then. An English transcript of the recording was also released. Among those are mentions of US President Barack Obama's decision to deploy an extra 1,500 troops to Iraq, a move announced shortly after the airstrike on Mosul. The recording calls on the supporters to erupt volcanoes of jihad across the world. It's CoreTV Primetime News. Before we close, a recap of our major stories. Insurgents flee as hunters soldiers reclaim Mubi town in Adamawa state of Boko Haram. Senators grill Chief of Army Staff over lost territories to Boko Haram. Delayed promotion tears UNILAG teachers and school management apart. That's our show for tonight. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Gift or Gete. Good night.